Hi, how you doing? Today's video is about Telecasters, more specifically about why, for years, I couldn't find a single one that I enjoyed, until very recently, I found the one exception. Some brief history on the Telecaster first, though. The Telecaster design was introduced by Fender back in 1950. Back then it was called the Broadcaster, but Gretsch got mad because they had a product called the Broadcaster and weren't owned by Fender yet back then, so the people at Fender had a bit of a roundtable meeting, the fruit of which was a nonsensical name riding the coattails of the recent success of television. Telecaster. The core design of the Telecaster has remained largely unchanged since the 1950s, but over the years it's been modified and copied by more companies than I have YouTube subscribers, and I feel like no matter how many subscribers I gain, that statement is going to remain true. Do hit subscribe though, that'd be greatly appreciated. But I'm serious, even to this day, companies are popping up left and right with either exact Telecaster copies or designs that derive from it. And I've never truly liked even one of them. Now don't get me wrong, these haven't all been bad guitars. I've tried everything ranging from $45 Telecaster copies at OEM manufacturer exhibits in China, all the way to custom shop Fender master built guitars for upwards of $10,000. A lot of these have been great guitars objectively, but I didn't like them. My guitar collection these days, while it does continue to grow, has been largely boiled down to stuff that I really vibe with without being repetitive. I sold most of my Strat collection because to me there was no point in having a bunch of Fender Strats, all of which really sort of accomplish the same thing. I see why you would want that, and clearly I also wanted that for a while, hence why I collected all of those Strats in the first place, but I don't want that anymore. Most everything I have now serves a unique purpose. And one purpose that wasn't being fulfilled yet by my current collection was the Telecaster sound. That signature twang of the two Tele single coils, distinctly different from the way a Strat sounds. But in order for me to incorporate one into my collection, I need to enjoy it. And that just has never been the case. Because my Tele criteria is quite strict. It needs to be beautifully designed because I hate the shape. So it needs to visually make up for the fact that the single cut shape is hideous. It needs to be nice and lightweight, but without having ridiculous neck dive. It needs to play buttery smooth, but with just the right neck profile, which for me is somewhere between C and D. And it obviously needs to sound good with that signature 2 single coil Tele configuration. And believe you me, I have tried to find the Tele of my dreams. The York Standard by PJD Guitars out of the UK has come quite close, but the one part of my criteria that it didn't meet was looking good enough for me to be able to look past the fact that it's a single cut. I know, function over form or whatever, and the PJD York Standard is an amazing instrument, but I do draw the line for ugliness somewhere. I mean, I have a PJD back there, I love it to death, but come on guys. So anyway, that one wasn't it, so I kept looking. Every Fender Tele that I picked up bored me to death. They weren't bad guitars, except for the Player series, those are bad guitars, but they just weren't exciting. Nothing about them sparked that joy in playing, or walking past it didn't make me want to pick it up and play. And I don't want an instrument that leaves me so devoid of emotions when holding it. I've had plenty of those, and I've sold all of them for that very reason. They might spark some emotion with somebody, but they absolutely don't for me. And I want an instrument that makes me want to play just when walking by it. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, years and countless Telecaster iterations later, I had pretty much given up the search. There was no Telecaster for me specifically. That was more my fault than it was that of Telecaster manufacturers, but still. In fact, I had gotten so desperate that I'd started looking at those Squier Paranormal Nashville Strats to at least somewhat achieve the Tele sound, even if I'd have to change pickups, without having to own a guitar that bores me so very much. And then, I found her. I was at a trade show visiting the booth of my friends at Capro Guitars, who had previously sent me my first ever 7-string, and I was just playing my way through everything they had at the booth. And I remember thinking and saying out loud, "Wow, that's a nice looking Tele," a sentence I'd said maybe twice in my life up to this point. So I picked it up, expecting to then put it down because I'd been bored to death by it, like I have been by every other Telecaster in my life, and walk away from the booth with the highlight having been some super Strat with 2 humbuckers. But instead, I fell in love. This is the K-Pro Guitars KT Custom Premium. Now, let me be upfront. After extensive conversation about how this is what I've been looking for years, I was offered to take this thing home from the booth, and of course, I'm not an idiot, I said yes. I haven't been paid for this video though, I wouldn't have accepted that, and had there been no pre-existing relationship between K-Pro Guitars and myself, and I'd found their booth and tried out this guitar, odds are I would have just made an offer to buy it right there off the show floor. And by all accounts, there was no shortage of people making that offer. I did say, sell it, you can send me another one after the show, I don't need to take this exact one home right now on the spot, but thank you. This guitar not only meets, but exceeds every expectation that I have for my one and only Telecaster. The aesthetics? Well, look at it. The Paulovnia body has a serious whiskey barrel thing going on, and the pickguard is quite special as well, because it looks like wood, but it's actually carbon fiber with a wood veneer to maintain the aesthetic. It's got a quarter-sawn roasted maple neck with a, pay attention now, slim C profile, which folds right in between C and D, exactly like I said. The neck feels amazing. They've actually carved this divot in the body where the neck joint is to maintain that thing that I love about bolt-on guitars, which is the fact that there is a chunk here that stops your thumb and tells you where the neck ends. But this groove just makes it that much more elegant and that much less intrusive without getting rid of it completely, like we've been seeing with a lot of modern bolt-ons. It's got a Wilkinson bridge, K-Pro in-house vintage style tuners, and K-Pro's own brand of pickups called YHL Custom Pickups, the same brand that's also in my X-Metal S7 back there, and it sounds great. And this Tele is no exception. Now, I'm not exactly sure what makes this the Telecaster for me. Obviously, all of my criteria is met, but it goes beyond that into something not really tangible, but just the way I think you're meant to feel when picking up a really great instrument. I will say, as time goes on, I likely will be switching out the K-Pro in-house tuners for a set of Godo vintage tuners or literally anything in that price range, because as you would expect with a guitar that I love this much, I've been playing it a lot lately, and my one negative takeaway from that has been that the tuning stability is not the best. But I mean that in the most literal way possible. It's not bad, it is just not the best. Most of my guitars have better tuning stability because the ones that didn't to begin with, I also upgraded with better tuners. This isn't $170 Squire territory of tuning stability, it is quite a few tiers above that, but it is also a few tiers below like an $80 set of Schala tuners, which is likely the echelon of tuners this is going to end up with. And I haven't actually mentioned this yet, K-Pro guitars are made in China. They are, according to themselves, handcrafted in China, meaning there are more people involved in assembling one of these than there are in some cheap Fender player guitar made in China. But alas, the country of origin, a factor that absolutely does not play into the quality of a guitar, is going to scare off some people, so good riddance to them. I'm sure there was a point in time where this was justified, but what I'm equally sure of is that we've outgrown that. And the reason is a combination of an increase in quality in Chinese-made instruments, as well as a decrease in the standards for stuff like USA-made Fenders. There are a few things on this planet cooler than an authentic 1960s USA Strat, but I've played modern American Fenders that felt like they came off the same conveyor belt as the Player Plus series. Nothing means what it used to in 1960 anymore. Throughout this video, you've been hearing a few examples of what this guitar sounds like, and none of those have been heavy music, and that's for good reason, because despite what I'm usually into playing on this channel, I have plenty of guitars that go heavy, and this isn't meant to be one of them. This is literally meant to just be a Telecaster. A Telecaster is nothing that I'll be using every single day of my life in the future, but it is something that's irreplaceable when it is needed. The price is somewhere in the very low quadruple digits, around $1,100–$1,200, and I honestly think that couldn't be more justified, and if you pick one of these up, you are bound to agree with me. There is a link to the K-Pro Guitars website in the description, however that is not an affiliate link. I have a lot of affiliate links for Thomann, Sweetwater, whatever. This isn't one, so regardless of how many of you buy one of these, I will not see a penny of commission, and that is perfectly fine. I've just always, for as long as I've been playing guitar, wanted a legitimately enjoyable Telecaster, and I've finally found it. K-Pro deserved this video. Quick plug though, if you want to buy literally anything else, my Thomann and Sweetwater affiliate links are readily available in the description, and I make a 4.5% commission on every purchase made on there, as well as the 2 links to my favorite drum and bass plugins that I use in every single one of my mixed tracks on this channel. And all purchases made using my affiliate links enter you into this series, anonymously of course. Thank you for watching, thank you K-Pro Guitars, and I'm off to keep playing this thing. I'll see you in the next video.